Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the National Cycling Podcast. We're three cycling nerds, and well, I guess Ewan counts as a professional cycling journalist now, so we have to call him that instead. But yeah, this is basically where we discuss what's been happening in the week of cycling, and also with an eye to the weeks ahead, Giro d'Italia coming up. But this was the week of Liege Bastogne Liege and Fleche Walloone, Tour of the Alps, etc., etc. And yeah, how are you guys? And Liege Bastogne Liege is fresh in our minds, and was it good or was it not good?
How has a week completely jam-packed with racing somehow seemed so dull? I know I was probably setting the whole podcast off on the wrong foot, but I don't know. It was just La Fleche was actually more interesting to watch than Liège, I would say, just based upon like the weather. Personally, it also showed that UNOX are tough, and would you put them in them Scandinavians in cold weather? Oh my word. They just seem to like step it up a notch, you could say. And yeah, I don't know, Tour of the Alps, that happened. I saw somebody describe it as the ZLM Tour, but with hills, and I thought that was just a perfect description of what happened. And then Liège was just Liège.
And don't forget, whoever wins Tour of the Alps is cursed. It has a poor conversion rate across to the Giro. So sorry, Juan Pablo Lopez, but I don't think you're big see where this coming. But we got plenty of racing, plenty of WorldTour racing, some unexpected twists and turns, and at the end of it, a very predictable monument. I mean, this is the third time this year that we're talking about a very predictable monument. That was quite dull with Roubaix, Ronde, and this. I wasn't a fan of Liège as much as I love Poggy. It was known from the start. I'm tired of witnessing greatness. I'm tired of all this bullshit, you know. I want some edge of my seat racing. I don't want this constant standing ovation that we're giving to these Galacticos recently. But I mean, that's just more selfish as a viewer. Pogacar deserved to win the race, and he also beat Remco's time at Redoute, so that's kind of based.
Yeah, it was just a bit. I mean, I bet you're looking forward to the Giro.
Oh, I can't wait. It's gonna be. I have many opinion pieces waiting to churn out about why the Giro is boring. Why I'm tired of it.
How many stages is he gonna win? 12?
Oh, I'm gonna go 6.
What's that Freddie Merton's record? Is it 13 or 12 in one Grand Tour?
Yeah, but it was the Welters, so it doesn't count.
It doesn't count.
Yeah, I think 6.
Yeah, 6 feels like a moderate amount. Because the thing is, he'll win. He could win that time trial. You know, the one to Perugia with the uphill at the end. I think he could win that, and then
I think he wins opening stage, that TT.
Oh yeah, well the opening stage now has an extra hill in it as well, which favors him even more.
Yeah, so it's like, do you want it even more, Poggy? There you go.
But yeah, honestly, I'm not exactly excited for the Giro, which is the first time in ages. I'm not excited for the Giro, but you can't deny Poggy was good today. You can't deny that he was just, you know, the best rider. You know, he's got a bit of a mixed relationship with Liege Bastogne Liege. You saw that in his victory salute as well. Remember, he broke his wrist here last year. The year before, he had to pull out last minute because Urška Žigert, his long-term partner, I don't know if they're married, but his mother-in-law had some health complications, and he had to pull out of the race. He won it in 2021, and then in 2020, he was sort of almost wiped out of winning by Julian Alaphilippe's messy sprint. So I'm kind of happy that he's got this now, and he's actually equal in monument wins to Mathieu van der Poel in terms of the actual number itself, which is very impressive. Poggy, since Liege Bastogne Liege in 2020, since he won the Tour de France, has never finished outside of the top 5 at a monument. So that's an insane record, given that he's done San Remo
last year. He didn't finish Liège last year.
Okay, in races he's finished.
It's because of Patrick Lefevre and his porthole. We've already discussed this. We already know.
Well, the egg cream, what's the egg in his face? Whatever. The backlash came because Remco got COVID a couple of weeks later.
That's true. Yeah, he did.
It just felt like the rest of the teams just presented them the win on this carpet, and everyone knew he was going to attack, and nobody was trying to do anything before the Redoute, really. And Skjelmose even announced it the day before that was what UAE were going to do. Obviously, he doesn't ride for UAE, he rides for Little Trek, and it happened. So it's like,
Yeah.
Why didn't we see like the second favorites trying to attack like beforehand or anything?
But if you're not the strongest on the day, then how are you going to win a race like this?
I mean, I remember when, I drew like, when we did the recap, I said to you, Scott, I said, it was kind of like, and don't take any offense to this, I said it reminded me of like watching women's racing over like the last couple of years, where you just get some obvious favourite from some team, probably SD Works. Like it's just Van Vleuten or Volram, and they just go away solo. Then they got teammates in the group behind who discourage the chase. They win solo, and then there's just this intense Group 2 dynamic. It's a little bit annoying to watch as a spectator, but it's understandable from a racer's perspective. And then a Group 3 comes back containing a faster person who then wins the sprint behind. And it's just like, and Scott and I said, it's like men and women's racing has swapped this year, because women's racing is actually super interesting this year. And it's not just SD Works winning all the time, as also proven today, because Grace Brown won. And yeah, it is like men and women's racing has swapped.
Grace Brown, who, by the way, is in a contract year.
Is she?
Yes. And there's a lot of interesting sort of things mulling about in the women's transfer market this year, with Vollering set to leave SD Works. A rumoured €1 billion deal was on the table for Vollering. That was not accepted, so she's still out in the wild. FDJ wanted her, but they don't have the finance to do so. And it's just, it's turning into quite an interesting season for the women's. On top of that, it's the Vuelta Femenina beginning next week. So who knows? I'm actually more hyped about the first women's Grand Tour than the first men's Grand Tour, which is the first time that's happened in a long time.
Oh, well. I'm looking forward to seeing the Mile Rosa, though. That's like the one thing which is keeping me going. I'm like, but it's going to go on Poggy's back. But, you know, I'm still looking forward to seeing the jersey. It's iconic.
Yeah, true. It's a Clismo. And we might see some sort of like rogue guys from the Breakaway get the pink jersey for a couple of days. And that's quite fun when you have like Aina Rubio wears the pink jersey for a couple of days.
It'd be like Mario van Zevenholt.
Yeah, true. He's looking good this season so far. He's actually had quite a quietly good classic season, even if he did race Amstel Gold in a weird way last week. But yeah, he's supposed to start the Giro. I mean, it will be interesting. It's still a Grand Tour, and you still have that spectacle. You know, it's like vanilla ice cream. It's like we still want ice cream. It's the most basic form, but it's still ice cream. You're still getting that sweet sort of that taste that you want. And I think, you know, we're getting that with the Giro.
I just don't want too much vanilla ice cream.
Well, I want a stracciatella. I want a whole Knickerbocker Glory. I want a full, like, what's that Dairy Queen thing? The Blizzard. I want a big sort of Blizzard ice cream. That's an American reference for our American viewers.
Some gelato in there as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, given that's in Italy, yeah.
That
wild side note, Danilo De Luca actually runs a gelato shop now, and apparently it's really good.
Echelon Cycling Podcast is going to go to we're going to do a live episode for this gelato.
Well, we're racking up things now. We're meant to go to the Sagan Hotel, and now this second place as well. But okay, we'll try and get into some structure. Well, we might as well. You touched on the Giro. We've already said Tadej Pogacar is going to win the Giro, but who's actually going to contest it? Who are the other favourites, if there are any?
I guess G kind of has to come into the discussion. After almost winning it last year, like super close, only losing it on the final TT, G has to be in there, even though like his results this year aren't that impressive, but they weren't last year, and he did fine. So he's deploying the true like Sky mid-teens strategy where you don't need to do well in any of the prep races. So I think G is definitely one to be looking out for. And then a splattering of names from Tour of the Alps as well.
Yeah, I think Geraint Thomas definitely. He's that guy who like kind of autopilot gets into that Grand Tour cycle really easily. And to be honest, it is quite old school. You mentioned Sky, but also like Fabio Aru and Ilnat Zakarin. They were these kind of guys who might get mid-result in stage races beforehand, but would sort of smash the Grand Tours really well. And I just have a feeling that Geraint Thomas would just slip into top 10 somehow. Tobias Foss took his first win for Ineos as well. That was quite cool. He took it actually in a sprint. And Ineos are bringing a good team. We can't overlook that. Taman Adamsman's going to be there. Haven't seen much of him this year, but he's such a strong rider who seems like he really gets into the groove at Grand Tours. A couple of other like big names like Pippo Ganna and so forth. I think it's going to be a pretty formidable Ineos Grenadiers. Looking elsewhere, Decathlon have been looking really good this year. I mean, they showed it today. They were looking really bullish. Didn't quite get they got a top 5 from Balapantre. But I think Ben O'Connor has to be considered a real favourite for the Giro podium.
You could literally say that Pogacar, G and O'Connor could realistically be the podium at the end of the Giro. Like, it's not too out of the ordinary to think that. But I think that the intrigue of the Giro is that I think you might get a slightly left field person on the podium as well. Because I'm saying that, G and Poggy probably fairly secure, I think, is like a top 2 favourites. I think that third place is definitely up for grabs. And I mean, somebody else who also doesn't do rolling like stage races, but then seems to turn it on for Grand Tours is Damiano Caruso, who has finished on the podium of the Giro before. Very easy to forget, but he's reliable, and he's going to be somebody who's definitely going to finish like top 3 on that Monte Grappa stage. Just you can already see it. And
he ages into Grand Tours like fine wine. There's Caruso. It'll be really cool to see him sort of bounce back. They're bringing Antonio Tiberi, who's having a banger of a season. I know, the whole cat thing kind of overshadows him, but he's having a really good season. I think he'll be a good backup for Caruso, but I don't know. I think there is plenty of scope for some rook people to do well. Part of me, maybe this is the romantic side, would like to see Nairo Quintana really bounce back at the Giro, because it's Nairo Quintana. Also, Balde's going to the Giro. He got a second place today in Liege Bastogne Liege, and he's had a bit of bad luck in Grand Tours recently, but he is still a pretty solid Grand Tour rider. So yeah, we could have sort of one of these older guys slip onto the podium. I just want to stick on Ben O'Connor. Looking at his pro cycling stats here, he's finished inside top 5 at every stage race he's finished this year, including second place at UAE Tour, 5th at Tirreno, 2nd at Tour of the Alps, and in the only one-day race he competed in, he won in Murcia in February. So definitely bullish about Ben O'Connor's chances, and he's in a contract year. So this will be important. He has not renewed his contract with Decathlon yet, because he's happy there, could stay on for longer. I mean, a big result could sort of get some other teams sniffing around to see if they'd like to sort of sweep them up for 2025.
4th in the Tour back in 2021.
Yes, but that was also because he got 8 minutes on that stage in Tignes. Without that, he wouldn't have been in the top 5, but he is still a really competent rider, I think. Yeah. Had some bad luck in the Tour recently, but I think he'll be back. And also, he's backed up by a really good-looking Aurélien Barré-Peintre, who's been looking really strong recently, and the reliable Larry Warbass, who I am very high on. He's just a nice guy.
I honestly think Tiberi could honestly top 10 GC this race.
Agreed.
I honestly think he could do. I think the GC field is not that deep in this race, to be honest. You're going to get some road people in the top 10. I mean, you might get Danny Martinez might pop up in there, to be honest. Uiterbrooks as well.
We haven't mentioned Visma Lease Bike. Uiterbrooks, he's been disappointing, I think, since his move to Visma Lease Bike, but he is also keen Uiterbrooks. At the end of the day, he might end up in the Uiterbrook zone, which is like sort of 5th through to 10th in GC, which would be a decent result for him, his best Grand Tour finish to date. Yeah, it's hard to sort of... There's no Yates, Simon, or Adam here. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw... I was going to say someone from UAE, but I don't... Might be a bit of a push to see Gorschattner or Mike on that final podium.
That's true. What about Shaker? I mean, obviously, like you say, they don't bring Simon Yates, but Dunbar was good last year. They got Lamp. They're signing for this year. I guess that they're going to be looking towards those two. I'd be surprised if one of them wasn't in the top 10 as well.
Dunbar has looked really poor this year, though. He finished 35th at Basque Country and DNF'd every other stage race he's done. Which probably shows we don't have a good enough sort of sample of his capabilities this year. We'll wait and see. He might just be a flash in the pan, but he does still have those capabilities to be right up there. Yeah, Jayco are bringing a team that has Yes, GC guys, then also Caleb Ewan for the sprints, which will be an interesting dynamic. Valscheid and Mezget is a good lead-out train for them. We'll get onto the sprinters in a wee bit, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see. And also Juan P. Lopez, who just won the Trip of the Alps, he could slot into top 10, the lower ranks as well.
It's going to be such a rogue top 10 that a lot of those, if you're like a semi-decent GC rider who's usually in the top 10 of a GC, you're going to be in for a good Grand Tour if you just stay upright.
And don't forget the homecoming ride of Pozzovivo, who's riding his final Giro.
That's true. Or Pellizzari. Is it Pellizzari?
Yeah, the youngster. He had a good Tour of the Alps.
Yeah. He might be alright as well.
Yeah, he's been making a good splash at whatever that team's now called, VF. Not to be confused with EF, but do they call VF now? Yes, Bardiani CSF, as many people will remember them. But they've had a really good year so far. They've been winning some pretty decent races.
21 years between him and Pozzovivo.
He could be his son, potentially.
Yeah.
But for Pellizzari as well, I know like him and Pozzovivo bring this sort of different side to Italian cycling. They're both from the south. It'd be really cool to see them do well. Pellizzari is from the Marca, which privately doesn't have a lot of cycling success. So it would be really cool to see Pellizzari break through, because the Giro is having a real crisis in Italy about sort of star names and trying to bring people in. Ganna has been the real star in the past couple of years of bringing people in, but he's a northern rider. I think someone like Pellizzari, if he breaks through, that could be really good to sort of bring back that southern Italian energy that we have in the sport.
They do have a real problem, though, in Italian cycling. They're looking for that next Vincenzo Nibali. Like, where is he?
Pellizzari.
It's Pellizzari.
It's Tiberi, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, okay, well, it looks like we're all just give the jersey to Tadej Pogacar. It's over. But I mean, anything could happen in a Giro. But sprinters, go on then. We haven't even mentioned the Tour of Turkey has kicked off. Fabio Jakobs winning his first win for his new team. DSM, yada yada yada.
Well, Veronic posted now.
It rolls off the tongue.
It really does.
But yeah, so. Sprinting, it's always like a confidence game as well. So
once like sprinters get the ball rolling, it feels like it kind of falls into place. But Caleb Ewan, Tim Merlier are probably the two big names here. Caden Grooves is returning to the Giro. He won a stage last year. Oh, and Olaf Koy. How could I forget? Olaf Koy. Jonathan Milan as well. I mean, only like last month we were saying Jonathan Milan's like a Swiss Army knife sprinter. So maybe he is the guy to beat. Lidl Trek have really stepped up in terms of their results in the past 12 months. And he's got a decent train here with Jasper Stuyven and Ed Turns.
Yeah, absolutely. I think who else? Piffy comes here. Be interested to see how he goes on debut. Welsford comes as well with support of Van Poppel. I'm just trying to see if there's anybody else. Gaviria. Very under the radar. Gaviria launching with 500 meters. Milano, similarly.
Has he done anything this year, Gaviria?
What, Gaviria?
Yeah.
Didn't he win a stage in Tour Columbia?
Oh,
I think he did win a stage early in the year, but I live on the Milano hype train. I think he could win a stage.
But is Rui Oliveira here?
The Milano hype train?
Yeah, Oliveira's here. And Virga Stockylange to help as well.
Yeah, Poggy on lead out. Might get bored.
Dainese as well should have been stepping up their game in the sprints. It would have been really cool to have Arthur de Klein here, given this is the one chance to make a Grand Tour statement. But Dainese is Italian. He's got 2 stage wins of the Giro in the past 2 years. Expect him to win that final stage in Rome, because he always ages into these races. He's always really good in the final week.
He looks like a stage 18 sprint. So that's Dainese.
What I like to call the Crespella stage, the pancake stage.
Yeah. Exactly, the one where what was it? The where like Dries de Bont won ahead of like a Feeney or something like that. Like those sorts of stages. Well,
Dainese won the sprint behind in the pack on that day, so
yeah,
proves a point. But yeah, I mean, and then you've got plenty of riders that are going to try and go for things in the breakaway. I think this might be quite a breakaway heavy Giro, because everyone will be looking at UAE. We will get questions answered at Romandy as well. A couple of the sort of contenders for the Giro will be there. Well, I say contenders, people fighting for that 4th place.
That's true. It is Romandy's silly season.
It is. We're gonna.
Who's going to win? Who's going to be the random person who's going to win that opening prologue? It was shiny last year.
I love the opening prologue of Romandy. This year it's 2 kilometers long.
So beautiful.
It's got loads of corners as well, so it has to be a good bike handler. It's short and sweet. As I wrote in my preview available on cyclist.co.uk, the time trial will be long enough for most of the riders to listen to a conventional pop song by the time they finish the stage. So riders better have like, even in this TikTok generation where songs are 2 minutes 30 seconds long, these riders can still listen to one of those whilst bombing around the course. But that's going to be a topic of discussion for next week when we have that silly Romandy season.
What do you mean? What Euro pop song would you play if you were doing the Tour of Romandy prologue?
I would listen to Europapa by Joost Klein, which is the Dutch entry for the Eurovision Song Contest.
Patrick, you've opened the floodgates now.
Oh, what were we even talking about? We were talking about sprinters. We were talking about binning. Yeah.
This week's episode is fueled by fatigue and a lack of structure.
Yeah. Well, do you want to say who we think is going to win Ciclamino or something?
Yeah, and maybe in most stages as well.
Okay. It's kind of... This is actually such a good sprinting field. This has probably got a better sprinting field than the Tour. I want to say... I think that Ciclamino will go to Koi, but I think most...
Of course you would say that. Go on, you've been demonstrating that you wanted him to a Grand Tour, and here, finally he's here, and you're going to say he's going to win everything.
And he now has a new lead-out man, because Christophe Laporte has been drafted in for the Giro instead of Wout.
I think that this Melissa bike, because they have basically no lead out here, will be expected to do very little work. Koi could probably win Ciclamino as well. I'll put his name on that as well, just because he climbs surprisingly well. Like, those stages at Paris-Nice where I was like, this is a Mass Pedersen stage. I'm like, who is this Melissa bike person? Why is Olaf Koi climbing so well? So I think Koi I reckon he wins Ciclamino, and I reckon he could take 3 stages.
I'm going to say Jonathan Milan. He won it last year. I know, safe choice, but I just think Milan, because he climbed really well at Tirreno. He's got a good team around him. I think he'll be highly motivated. He's had a good year so far. So I'm going to say Jonathan Milan. None of us have mentioned Tim Merlier.
It's because he's good to get dropped.
If you win a bunch of sprint stages, like pure flat stages, of which there's lots of the Giro this year, then he has a good shout at winning it overall if he gets a couple of stage wins under his belt. But are we confident enough to say that Merlier's going to win 3 stages?
Well, I was going to say Fabio Jakobsen. Fabio Jakobsen through stages, and then Biniam Girmay takes the points classification.
Your new best friend, Biniam Girmay.
I mean, that's not new.
True, it's been like 2 years now. Okay, Bert van Leeuwenberg, most underrated lead-up man in the UCI World Tour. He's here piloting Tim Merlier.
That's true. And you'd probably say that, we talked a lot about the battle of the best sprinter this year is between Philipsen and Merlier. And obviously Philipsen's not here, so de facto Merlier is the best sprinter in this race. It's on a flat parcours, obviously.
Yeah, but Merlier struggled to win multiple stages in Grand Tours. He will win one and then sort of not keep that ball rolling and switch off. Might be the same here. It's different because it's not with Alpecin anymore, but...
Yeah.
I don't know about Merlier. It's probably because we haven't seen him at a Grand Tour in so long. And the last time we saw him at a Grand Tour was the Vuelta in 2022, and he was poo.
Yeah, God.
He was bad. He really wasn't firing particularly well there. So, for me, yeah, I'm going to stick with Jonathan Milan.
Well, for both, as most wins, and that was the thing. You have to give 2.
I think Milan takes 2 stages. Koi takes 2 stages. Milan takes 2 stages. Merlier takes 1 early.
Pogacar takes 6.
Yeah,
obviously. I wouldn't be shocked.
So it's Pogacar. It's not any other sprinters. It's Pogacar. He takes the points jersey as well.
Yeah, could Pogacar take it?
The Giro now runs a system like the Tour de France to favour sprinters, like flat sprinters, but I also...
Well, if there's no sprinters left.
Yeah, true.
That's a fair point. send them up the Stelvio. Who's going to last? That's the thing. Who is literally going to last? I don't even know. I wanted to say Piffy. I wanted to fly the Piffy flag for like Ciclamino. I think he's going to do like a Binny from a couple of years ago. I think it's out of a question that he might do that, especially since Groupama, I don't have a team announced, but Piffy is going. And so they might be more focused around him than some vague hope of David Gaudu getting, or I don't even know if Gaudu is coming here.
No.
Oh, well, it should be all around Piffy then, really.
I'd hope, yes. Piffy's been looking really good this year. He is leaving at the end of the year to go to Bora Hansgrohe. Like, maybe that also factors into the fact that they might not support him as much as they would have if he was staying. Is that shallow?
I don't think for Groupama it is, because I think they're currently just in a bit of turmoil, and it wouldn't, I don't know, maybe they'd be happy with just some Grand Tour wins. Piffy could definitely deliver that. There's a couple of stages which are a little bit trickier, and will definitely jettison Jakobsen, Welsford, Merlier, and maybe make it a bit easier for Piffy to roll a victory, which, let's face it, don't come too frequently for Groupama FDJ. When was that last Grand Tour victory?
I was about to ask that. I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
Arnaud Demar, 2022 Giro. That's the one that comes to mind, and it is the last time they won a Grand Tour stage, yes. And he won quite a few.
Demar popped off in that Giro. He was so good.
He did, but apart from that...
I reckon we might put their pettiness to a side in order to get a win with Piffy.
It's quite sad, though, that they're losing 3 of the biggest under-23 talents in 1 year.
Yes, but it's also like, I mean, I think Martinez is being promised a contract 4 times higher than the one he's currently being paid, which is big per year. According to RCS Sport, the French outlet, don't know about Piffy, don't know about all these other guys, but they might just be able to pay people more, particularly for these upcoming kids. And before Hansgrohe, we know they have the money to bring people in with the Red Bull thing. That looks like it might be happening soon.
They'd probably be able to afford him, wouldn't they? Yeah, Groupama's just in a bit of a sorry state, very, very sadly. I'd like to see Piffy do well in this race, though. I think, but it's going to be hard. There's, like we said, there's so many good sprinters that we just mentioned that on the flat sprints, it's going to be quite difficult for Piffy to shine. And I think, the way that sprinting works, it's probably going to be, I mean, a lot of the big names that we mentioned, they might just flop and do nothing in the whole race, because there's probably, seven sprints, something like that.
Particularly if they have a focus on the Tour de France to come as well. Like Jakobsen, who's scheduled for the Tour, like they might think, you know what, it's not my number one priority. They might even abandon towards the end. With Jakobsen, I would not be surprised. He doesn't climb particularly well in Grand Tours. I mean, doesn't climb particularly well, full stop. Yeah, and I mean, in terms of other breakout stars, who else are you expecting to sort of catch the limelight of the Giro d'Italia?
Taberi.
Loki, yes, I actually do think Taberi is going to be really good. I hate to say it because, like, he did a bad thing, but
on a cat.
True.
Cats can be annoying.
Ooh, Sheffield. Back in a Sheffield.
True. Sheffield making his Grand Tour debut.
We'll wait and see what he does at Romandy, but he's a good time trialist. He seems to be climbing fairly well. I don't know whether Ineos will be, I don't know how much leeway he'll get to be in a breakaway, but I'm excited to see what he can do nonetheless. There aren't really that many debutants or young guns. What about Valentin Palapensa? He was good in Tour of the Alps.
He was.
Of course, his brother won stage last year, so maybe he could make it 2 years in a row.
Yeah, him and his brother both have been performing really well this year. So maybe Aurélien comes through. Valentin.
Yeah.
He was up in a break last year, the Giro as well. Really wanted to sniff out a stage win. So yeah, someone like him going like right towards the 4. Ocean Tren is going to be here for Bahrain. He had a good season last year, but crashed so many times in the Tour of France. Didn't he finish with like a pretty serious injury, or he had a pretty serious injury like throughout most of the race? I think it is going to be interesting to see where a lot of these guys that have had a lot of bad luck, now they have the chance at the Giro to kind of pump up their own material, how they will go.
Well, also Simon Carr. He could definitely win the, what's the climb one called?
The Maglia Azzurra.
Yeah. I reckon he could honestly win that.
Yeah, the thing about Simon Carr is that he's always looked good at other races, then Grand Tour's kind of like goes a little bit flat, but he looks good this year. He won the Trofeo Calava at the beginning of the year, and he's been looking really good in breakaways this year so far. So I am quite optimistic about Simon Carr this year. Don't know if it counts as a breakout ride for him, but definitely looking like he could make a bit of a splash. Also, EF will need to release a few kits. I'm excited about that one.
Oh yeah, that's true. At least they do actually make a good kit. I can't think of a bad one they've done. I think we're all pretty decent.
I'm hoping they kind of like become very self-aware and then just make it like a white reversed kit from what they usually send. Just make it a white jersey like everyone else seems to do for the Tour de France. That'll be quite funny, but I don't think they will. They'll go all out for this.
If anything, for the Giro, it might be a bit cold. Just make it come really dark. Absorb all the heat you can.
All right, where do we go to from here?
Oh, no idea.
World Tour rankings. Latest up to date for today. So hopefully Pro Cycling Stats has done all the sums. Right now, unsurprisingly, UAE Team Emirates are winning by a landslide, but Astana find themselves towards the bottom, towards with Cofidis and Movistar.
Yeah, because Astana currently 22nd in the overall rankings.
Yeah.
That's not good for them. But this is only based on this year, not the full 2-year cycle that we're currently on.
Yeah, that is the caveat.
But did Astana really pick up that many points last year?
Israel Premier Tech should be...
Yeah. Israel have had a good year. Israel Premier Tech have had a good year.
So who's in trouble? Who's going down, essentially?
Cofidis.
Yeah.
Movistar in danger, but
Can you remember anything Cofidis has done, really, in the this season?
No, I just remember, I remember just thinking that Coquard was going to do a lot of stuff, and then he didn't.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Cofidis, rumoured to be bringing in Alaphilippe next year, by the way.
I thought it was Total, no?
Both of them are linked.
I feel like that move has almost been like, it's like they've just caught on to what the whole cycling Twitter community has been saying for about 3 years, which is that Alaphilippe's going to go there. And they're just like, it's happening. And nobody's quite surprised because in a way, it's almost like the Mandela effect. And we all just thought it was happening anyway.
Well, it's like an annual tradition where we get these rumors out that Alaphilippe's leaving, but now it looks like he definitely is. Also with Kasper Asgreen as well. Going to Uno X, apparently. Uno X Mobility is an unknown. Movistar are far down. Bahrain, okay. Bahrain are low down. But they haven't done that much this year in terms of high-profile victories. Who's going to save their season?
Damiano Caruso with a 4th place at the Giro. Legit.
But that would be a hefty sum of points for them. But Bahrain being so low down is interesting. Kenya are banging it. Look at them. 19th last season, 11th this season. They look to be safe. Who'd have thought out of all these French teams, Arkea is the one that looks to be one of the most safe?
It's because of the French Lutsenko, Kevin Vauquelin smacking it into second up Redoute.
And if that race was 200 meters longer, the Norman Alexei Lutsenko would have been winning. By the way, Lutsenko had a banging Liege Bastogne Liege.
Yeah. But nice finishing for him ever.
Good. He deserved it. He was all over that race like a rash today. But yeah, Arkea being 11th is also a bit of a surprise. Scott, you have access to these full rankings. Who's 10th?
Lotto Destiny. That's not
I'll get promoted. Van Hills has been good.
Oh, Van Hills is absolutely popping off. He is literally putting that team on his back and squatting it. Like, he is doing God's work for that team. He is absolutely on fire. Like, look at his results. He's so good this year.
It feels like every year they like pin their hopes on some child. Last year, Arno de Lee. This year, it's Maxim van Hills. Who's it going to be for next year? Leonard van Eetveld? He won a World Tour stage.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he's good. Yeah. We knew Van Hills was good last year, but yeah, he's stepped up. Lotto Destiny is safe. I think they'll go back up again.
It'll be them in Israel for sure, no?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I think I'm just looking at DSM. They are 17th. But I feel like Bardet at the Giro could... Bardet... Bardet finished second today. Bardet at the Giro.
The thing about DSM is that, like, if you look at the low rankings, they haven't moved since last year. they were at this point last year, whereas like Arceus done really well this year, but they were low last year. You've got like the Decathlon who were bad last year. They've moved up to inside top 5 in World Tour points this year. So DSM solid at the bottom. There's no growth. There's no sort of depression there. That's worrying that they're not really making any change.
And also, Oscar Onley has broken his collarbone for like the 3rd time or something. That's not, like, you just look at a team that just don't really have like one-day races, and that's where you get a lot of the points. They've got a lot invested in Jakobsen. Yeah, it's great when you get stage wins, but it doesn't bring in that many UCI points. Only being out, like, he's actually quite good over like those kind of punchy one-day races. Max Poole, he needs to get back in the rotation. Like, you just look at their team, and it's just it's not well designed for UCI point farming.
Yeah, I agree, and I think DSM are in trouble. To be honest, DSM, Cofidis, Astana are the ones I think they're in real trouble for next year. Because I think the other ones like Bahrain are low at the moment, but they'll probably bring it back either next year or this year.
What about Movistar?
It's Movistar. We can't lose them.
Mass will pull some out of that.
No, but like I feel like Movistar will stay.
Yeah,
they'll find a way.
We'll save them.
Iban Sosa will save them.
Yeah.
But Cofidis, I just like, even with all those Coupe de France races they get invited to, like, they have cheat codes for the UCI World Tour point system, but it's not looking great. And it does make it interesting, like with other pro teams that are looking to come up in the next cycle as well. Uno X recently, they put out a press release saying that they want to be up here by 2020, the next rotation, by the end of that one. You got Tudor, who are looking really good, to have some big finance backing there. Q36.5 as well have some big finance, I'll say that.
Anyway, race we've touched on, but we haven't really spoke about in depth. Fleche Walloone, one of the most terrible races in terms of weather, as Matthias Skjelmose Jensen. Okay, you said earlier that Scandinavians did really well, but Matthias Skjelmose Jensen caught out by the cold, and that was kind of the most vivid picture that kind of went all over the place. But yeah, what did you think of Fleche Walloone? I'm a huge fan of Fleche Walloone, but yeah, it doesn't get much love. But this time it was actually a bit of an exciting addition.
This time there was action before the MVDP. Courtesy of the weather, to be honest. It was very Dantesque. I still didn't love the race, and a lot of the favourites pulled out because of the weather and so forth. So that kind of like depleted the action, asterisk on the win for Stephen Williams, but he looked really good throughout the day. On the penultimate time up the MVDP, he looked fantastic. Santiago Buitrago as well looked really good. But yeah, I mean, a deserved winner, a strange top 10, let's say that. And I think only about 50 people finished. So that's just a testament to how difficult this race was. Don't know how memorable the Stephen Williams Fleche Wallonne victory will last in about 10 years' time. But that image of him wearing that huge coat in the post-race interview will stick with me for a very, very long time.
It was kind of odd because like a lot of the results of the Fleche Walloone didn't correlate very well to results at Liège. Like Stephen Williams was dropped early. The only people who really did good in the Fleche Walloone and then did good in Liège was like Van Hills and Kuznefroy. Really, it felt like Amstel was actually the better indicator towards Liège's success. But I think it was good to see Stephen Williams do it, like winning it nonetheless, because definitely it's been like a few years where I remember when he took that stage win at Tour de Suisse years ago. It was just like coming out of COVID or something like that. I remember that. And yeah, it's good to see that his career hasn't just like fizzled out because of injury and stuff. So that was cool to see, at least.
Yeah, and he's a guy he's got a lot of talent. So like it's good to see him sort of delivering on that at Israel Premier Tech, proving that it's not just an old people's home for stars of years gone by. And it's promising stuff. The Decathlon looked really good in that race as well. Vauquelin getting second place was fantastic to see. Van Hills as well, right up there. Tobias Halman Johannesson, a rider I describe as the most overrated rider in the world right now. He got a top 10, so that was nice to see him not being overrated for once. So yeah, plenty of interesting storylines from Fleche Wallonne. Men's. Let's go to the women's, because Kasia Niewiadoma won a race.
First time in like
since 2019.
2019.
She's such a good rider. Like she is such a good rider who like really should not have. So she should have won more in recent years, but it's just kind of missed out with all these sort of Galacticos on the women's side. She's been a victim of that. But it was really, really good to see Kaja Niewiadoma win that. And with that, I will plug the full feature of Kaja Niewiadoma's boyfriend on the Cycling Dane main channel, the What the Fuck Happened to Taylor Finney video, which is celebrating its 1-year birthday this week. So check that one out on the Cycling Dane main channel.
I don't even know where to go from that.
It's a good interview.
It wasn't good. I listened to it. I very much enjoyed it.
Rider of the week.
I will go with Stephen Williams as my rider of the week for winning the Fleche Walloone in torrid conditions. And yeah, although it didn't reflect into a Liège victory, it's just good to see somebody who, you know, a couple of years ago was like, ooh, is he going to continue being a pro or not? Getting the result, which his potential has been indicating for so long. So yeah, it's great to see.
Okay, I'm going to give her full legal name, Katie Newhouse. Katarzyna Niewiadoma. Kaja Niewiadoma gets my rider of the week because, I mean, she won a race and she's a really, really likable person on and off the bike. Cool to see her get that. And that Canyon SRAM kit for the women is blitz. It's fantastic. So Kaja Niewiadoma is my rider of the week.
I don't even know who to pick now. I thought you were going to pick like Juan Pedro Lopez.
Ooh, yeah, but I mean, Tour of the Alps, that's like, you know, I don't want to say that's like winning San Marino's Got Talent, you know?
Yeah, it's true. And also, he was just being super annoying, to be honest with you. Like, he was acting like Alaphilippe from years ago, where he's just like telling people to like do that all the time. It's like, mate, just absolutely do one. Like, it's your responsibility to bring back that person. Stop trying to twiddle the wild balls through.
You say that, but he did give Michael Sora a bottle.
He did. I did see that, and that put an ice pack onto my anger, which was increasingly heated.
But I love Juan P. Lopez because he has this like such old school energy that we need in bike racing. And like when he was leading the Giro a couple of years back, he was just like, he was being El Patron, you know, he was doing this kind of stuff then. And I'm glad he still got it. And I'd love to see him wear the pink jersey for a couple of days just so we can get this sort of juicy Juan P. Lopez leader's jersey theatrics. So to Scott, who's your rider of the week?
Yeah.
I don't know. Tadej Pogacar is too easy and it was a boring race.
Balde.
Yeah, I was Bardet because he was very emotional after finishing on the podium. So yeah, it's great, Bardet.
And you can watch the Romain Balde interview on the Cycling Dane Extra channel.
Why are you plugging everything? What happened, Ewan? Is this because you're on the cyclist? Now it's everything's being plugged.
Well, I don't have my edition of the magazine by my side, but believe me, in the weeks to come, I'm going to be plugging that.
Anyways, that's basically it for our 65th episode of the Echelon Cycling Podcast. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and check us all out on Twitter as well. That will be in the description down below, hopefully this time, if I remember. But with that, as always, thank you for watching, and we will see you in number 66.